There's a video of Sadiq Khan that's been circulating around the internet of a recent interview that he done on LBC, where he's been quoting some very, very silly statistics with regard to migration. I wanted to quickly debunk everything that Sadiq Khan is trying to position with the public, but also share with you a little strategy that I've developed in order to deal with people like Sadiq Khan, which I've found to be especially useful in my happiness. So, first things first, here's the video from LBC in which Sadiq Khan spills forth his bile about this country and immigration generally. I apologise to those people who dislike Sadiq Khan as much as I do, but this is probably going to be one of the last times that you ever watch Sadiq Khan, if, as I'm hoping, I can get my message across to you. So, drum roll, for the last time in your life, here's Sadiq Khan spewing his bile.
A skilled migrant will contribute on average £16,000 a year towards our economy, and that's when you include the public services he or she may use. By the way, compare that to a Brit skilled worker, that's £800 minus public services they use. And here's the lovely stat. A skilled migrant's family will contribute to the British economy £12,000 a year. That's when even when you take away public services they use. A British skilled worker's family takes from the economy £4,400 when you include public services they use. So the idea that skilled migrants are sponges or skivers isn't the case.
Okie dokie, thanks very much for that, Mr. Khan. And so, was he telling the truth? Yeah, he was telling the truth there, but being highly selective over the information that he's providing there. And as I think you would have seen in that clip, he had to concentrate when he was passing that information over because he'd already rehearsed those lines there in order to infuriate and annoy people. So just to quickly debunk what he was saying there, over the last few years, 3.6 million visas have been issued, and 12% of those migrants were skilled. So approximately 12% of all of the migrants that arrive in this country, they are skilled. And plus, in addition to that, a majority of those skilled migrants are in effect low-wage earners. So even when a migrant has, skills that they can use with which to help the economy, some of the time, as with skilled people in the UK, they don't find high-paid jobs. They have to take low-wage jobs in order to survive in the economy. And in fact, only 5% of migrants, and that's 1 in 20 migrants, are high-wage net contributors to the UK economy. So, according to OBR figures, for every £1 a skilled high-wage migrant adds to our economy, a low-waged migrant, of which that's 19 out of 20, takes out £1.60. Now, the overwhelming majority of migrants in the UK, both unskilled and skilled migrants, are in fact low-wage earners. So they are a net burden to the taxpayer from the moment that their foot touches British soil. An even more startling statistic is that by the time a low-skilled migrant reaches pension age, they will have cost the British taxpayer more than £150,000. And if that person lives to 81, the low-skilled migrant will have cost the taxpayer at that point, on average, £465,000. Now, high-skilled, high-wage migration has, without doubt, benefited our economy. The problem with it is that they're a tiny proportion, in percentage terms, of the millions that Labour and the Tories have flooded into this country. And for that reason, we can just simply debunk Sadiq Khan's argument there as being spurious, highly selective, and it's really how he's trying to position it there. You could sum it up as selective. I'm just going to come out and call him a deceitful liar, because he's trying to position that migrants are a net benefit to the economy when in fact they're not at all. They tend to cost the taxpayer hundreds of thousands of pounds each by the time they reach pension age. Now, to move on to my main point, outside of debunking those ridiculous claims that Sadiq Khan has made, I want to try and pass across to the people listening to this video my personal strategy for dealing with Sadiq Khan. Now, for a long time, I used to listen to Sadiq Khan on the television and on social media. And I used to listen to the things that he said, and they used to annoy me. And I used to say, how is this man saying these things? Why is he saying these things? This information he's passing across is rubbish. His whole stance on British culture is wrong, and he just seems to come up with ever more and more higher and higher levels of annoyance the more you watch him. And then one day, I was watching the television and I was watching GB News, and there was a presenter on there, and he said something which in effect changed my life and provided me with a light bulb moment. And the presenter said this: all Sadiq Khan is a troll. And when I stood back and thought about that, I thought, yeah, in fact, let's give the devil his due. Let's give Sadiq Khan the credit of intelligence that he deserves, and let's make this particular statement. Sadiq Khan is a world-class troll. He's a troll of the highest order. He's right at the top of the tree, and if you're ever wanting to take up trollism, or perhaps being a troll, there's no better teacher than Sadiq Khan. And so, whenever I see Sadiq Khan come onto the television or come onto social media, I never ever listen to what he's got to say. I will switch over onto something else, or mute the sound, or scroll beyond them, or whatever you do, whether it's TV, social media, YouTube, whatever it is. Whenever I see his face, I blur it out. I never listen to anything he's got to say, because he never says anything to me of value. His sole purpose in life, the only thing that he wants to do, is troll people and annoy the British public. Now, I could have went into a lot greater detail with Sadiq Khan as to the harm he's doing to British culture. I could have went into all that, but I'm not going to do that because we don't need to. From this moment on, what we can do, we can put Sadiq Khan into the dustbin of history and just mark him troll. We can even give him credit and say Sadiq Khan is a world-class troll. But there are some people in society that exist like Sadiq Khan, and I'm sure you could come up with your own list of people who are very much like him, but we don't need to listen to Sadiq Khan at all in future. He's never going to provide anything to the conversation. He's never going to add to the public discourse. He's just a deceitful, nasty person, and all he wants to do is annoy people, and those type of people, we're best off cutting them out of the conversation. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that, hope you found it informative and life-changing as I did. Thanks very much for your time, I do appreciate it.